What's goody? What's goody? Your boy back. It's your boy B Neil, aka Emerald Thoughts, aka Fat Hoes and Hot Wings. We back in this thing. We got another reaction video off the record. Andrew Schulz. The quote say I didn't want to put out my interview with Fresh and Fit. That's a little bit misleading with context, but hey man, you gotta clickbait. You gotta get them in. So I ain't mad at that at all. We're gonna watch maybe a little bit, but I'm gonna be clicking in between some pictures and stuff like that because I am not trying to get copyrighted. But let's get it.
To have Wheezy on with Fresh and Fit.
Oh, you should have.
No, and I'll tell you why I didn't. Because I'm not an asshole like you. You think that I fucking set them up. I said, I don't think that I was like, I don't think that's fair. Can I tell you something honestly about that? And this is how much I was looking out for them. I didn't want to put out the episode. I said to them, I was like, guys, I think this could make you look bad. You can have you guys back on again. We can do this again.
So he even acknowledged that putting out clips that kind of like make one side of the guest look bad could be if you was like the mediator and your channel was the mediator on that video, it kind of makes you look like an asshole. Even Andrew Schulz kind of referred to that, and he said he never would really put that out there. I don't know if he has a perfect record of that or not, but like I said, that's what Rollo Tomasi and many other people were saying. Like that clip was kind of distasteful if these are your friends. Like I would never put a video out that could like put my friend in bad light. Like that's just not something I would do.
Again, we can have another conversation, but I don't want to take part in putting something out there where the internet is going to beat you up. That's not what this is about for me. We can have another conversation. Multiple times, I said, I don't even feel good. They hit, yo, put it out. I'm like, is there anything you want edited? I can give it to you. You guys can take out anything. Is there anything you want removed? They go, no, put it out in its entirety.
Let me ask you a question.
I just want to point this out. My beef is never with creators. My beef is with institutions, politicians, fucking elites. Fuck them. In terms of like an independent creator, like whether you like it or not, there's similar fights that we're all fighting. So I don't like to get bogged down in
I
any
gave
of that
advice
kind of
on that because they said, hey, yo, Andrew.
That similar fighting stuff is very real. A lot of our battles are intertwined. Because if we thinking about it, we fighting for our individual freedoms or our group's freedoms, or the right to explore, whatever you may want to say. And at the end of the day, like Jay-Z said, if you able to be a slave, then I'm up next type shit, to simplify what he said. So if one group is being counseled and things like that, and you turn a blind eye to it or help propagate that movement, that's a risky, slippery slope, because that means that any given moment it could be swift and changed on you. And that's because of once you give that power and will to encroach on one person's freedoms or one group's freedoms, everyone's up for grabs. That's just how it works. So you have to be very careful, like Andrew Schulz kind of say, when like trying to demonize or talk down on other groups or people, because a lot of times we all fighting the same fight, and they probably could do the same thing to my group if we being honest. And that, why do that? That starts a bullshit war for no reason. But let's keep going.
Is asking if, like, should we edit anything out? And I didn't see it yet. So I'm like, wait, how was it? It was like, yo, no, I think, they tried to get us and we got them. And I'm gonna be honest. What they told me was like, hey, listen, I feel and that's why I felt it was a good cop, bad cop thing. So I'm like, okay, they probably try to stick you guys up on a few points. And if you eloquently and logically explained yourself,
right,
that may make it look like it was a hit job, or it was a poorly executed hit job. It might make them look bad. Because again,
I mean, it did make, I don't think people said Andrew looked bad. I think Akash looked bad, and then I forgot the other dude in the corner looked bad. Those are the ones that kind of look bad, and that's the truth, bro. When the truth gets out, when people that actually watch the full context of the video, when they make their judgments, then that's when I think you should like kind of listen to things more clearly versus someone judging things off clips. And when you watch the whole video in context, same with Brittany Renner, you don't get that same idea that, oh, they got destroyed or Andrew and Akash owned them or some shit like that. But yeah. I mean, that's just logical though.
If I invited a guest on to just completely dunk on the whole time, at a certain point, I look lame.
Yeah.
Because why invite the guest? So I'm like, hey, listen, if you guys felt you did a good job and you don't regret anything, and you guys would know if you said anything that was questionable, if that's not the case, put the whole thing out. So I thought it was you who were probably having cold feet to say, hey, we brought these motherfuckers in to have good cop, bad cop conversation.
No, dude, there wasn't even really a conversation beforehand. I wish we had more of a conversation beforehand. But meaning like the guys.
Yeah.
Right? But
because I don't think Andrew, like when people was like they playing good cop, bad cop, or Andrew was trying to like be lighthearted about the convo, I don't think Andrew ever really had a problem with that like that. I think somebody put a battery in the Kosh back, and then old dude was probably already being like, he just probably an emotional dude in general. And I think it even caught Andrew Schulz off guard because he even was like, all right, that's enough. Like that's not fair. And I don't think he came in to the conversation of the podcast with a lot of passion or any like hate or angst towards them or whatnot. So I believe him when he said that, and if he was able to have that conversation with before, I think he might have been able to notice that. So he really said a lot there in the sense of how he think the conversation went, as far as he like, do y'all want to edit it? Because he like, I don't like how a lot of this stuff kind of came off. That's why he like, maybe they could do another one. And versus like he said they would have talked before, so maybe going into it, it would have came off as a better interview, not like you're attacking the people that you brought on, even if that's the reason he may have thought it was bad. Maybe he could have thought Akash was valid, but maybe in his eyes, that's not how you treat guests on your show, and that's why he was like, maybe we should talk, or maybe we should edit some things out. So yeah, maybe he don't think they just lost the argument or whatnot, but you could tell that it was some things that he felt could have been done differently on their part. And I respect that as a man, as he was able to acknowledge that probably during the video or in the moment of them making a video or podcast, and after he was able to be like, hey, should we clean this up and make this look better on both parts? And I respect that as a man, being like, hey, we didn't do as good as we could have. Like that's very admirable. And I usually get on Andrew Schulz a lot when he talks about Dave Chappelle or some other things that I think I've been against points, but I like him as a person in general, and I think that was pretty stand up of him as well.
But no, I mean, they asked to come on. They just heard us respond to the clip, and they're like, hey, can we come on the pod? I was like, yeah, if I talk about you on my podcast, please believe.
Oh, I thought you reached out to them. Like,
no, they reached out.
Oh,
this is the thing that like people don't get. Like
I don't know if Ak got caught in a lie right here, because Ak on his live said, I'm the reason that they got on Flagrant 2. They came to me because I had just got on their show. Maybe I misheard him. Maybe I misunderstood him when he on his Rolly Tomasi breakdown video, but I could have swore he said that. But watch how he rubbed his head.
This is the thing that like
I don't know if that's really him acting like he's so surprised that that's how it happened, or he's like, might have to cover for that, but I don't know.
Yeah, like I know how the internet reacts.
Okay.
I know what's gonna happen. I know what's gonna happen. Also, when we push back to them, right? All these loser fucking like pickup artist guys on the internet, you know, with a fucking YouTube channel of 10,000 people are gonna do these like think piece about us, etc. I understand it. I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I know. I know how the internet works, right?
Yeah.
They see the views, they go, okay, I'll talk about this thing because that's gonna get me views. We do it too.
Yeah.
Right? But I didn't want to take part in what I knew was going to end up being slander.
What do you think? So, and you know,
Ak glossed over that statement, but Ak literally participated because he was a journalist at that moment when he puts out that clip. He made a clip that he know could receive slander and a lot of views. And you got to see that as important as far as your integrity as a person. His integrity, I mean, you could say why he has an integrity because he may already have money or whatnot. But he has integrity that you can see that that's just not how I want to move and operate. I don't need those type of hits. I don't need those type of views. Act, he's about the money, he's about the hits, he's about the views. Where the money at? Show me the money. Whoa, what? And that's how Act operates. So if there's a slander piece that he know he can get hits off of, he gonna do it. And that shows the integrity in men and the difference. And there's no knock to Act. Get it how you live. This industry was here before you got here. It's gonna be here after you go. So if you want to participate in it, I mean, it's fine. It's not like you're the creator of it or whatever. Like I said, it's gonna be here. It's always gonna be a niche for that gossip community. So I'm not gonna knock anybody that wants to create a revenue off of that. I mean, it's a big demographic. It's smart. But if you're not self-aware, you can see how your integrity and how you may start to lose friends over time. And if you're not aware, you won't understand it. But I mean, that's because you really snaked everybody and thought it was cool because it was for money. And then you would think, hey, y'all don't understand this business, man. I thought it was all about business. They're like, nah, you a hoe ass nigga. No, that's just like the stories when they talk about no one showed up to his grave, even though he was a successful man. I'm not talking about Act in general. I'm just saying when you get that behavior of like, it's all about money. Yeah. You if you're not careful and not you don't communicate with these people like, hey, I'm gonna do this in the first place. Like, hey, you come on, there's no hard feelings. I'm gonna do this. It's gonna get you views too. This might be negative. You're gonna have to flip it. Like, if you're able to communicate those things to people before you do these things, then fine. They know what they signed up for. But when you going, like, I take it to like when an artist or a politician or a celebrity, they do this interview and they say that, like, it be in TV shows and all the time, like this little storyline or plot where they'll have an interview with this dude or this person, and then they create a straight hit piece, and they flip all their words, they flip everything that they was trying to say as far as perspectives and things like that. And I think that's what's dirty, because the person going in with good intentions, they open their heart, they being expressive, they telling their truths, and they're being vulnerable. All for you to snake them. They would never be vulnerable if they knew the potential of you doing that. So you get this organic interview, and then flip it, which is just it's so many different things wrong with that. Because this person would have been more on the defensive if they know they could get like clipped like this, and so many different things. So you wouldn't even have been able to get this hit without being able to manipulate them and act like, hey, be vulnerable. Hey, I would never flip this or harm you in any type of way. And that's just so dirty to be able to actually win like 2 different times off of that. You get a great story because this person's vulnerable, and then you make it even better because you flip it and make that person, hey, so your agenda or whatever reason that you want to do that gets put you win on that level too. So yeah, that's just nasty. And if you can't see how you lose friends and connections over time, then you're an idiot.
You know me, I'm on Twitch. I'm like,
because also they've been good guys to like
they're
us.
great guys.
If they were pieces of shit, like there's some people that maybe have come on the podcast, or I'm wondering even with Brilliant Idiots, but it's like, if you talk wild shit, like I'm not looking out for you.
Yeah.
I'm not looking out for you. And
really
I think there's growth in that strategy. Like I think there's a lot of things that they have that can be super valuable, and they can offer that to guys. Get them to the point where they realize like, hey, I can talk to women, be charming, be fun, but not have that like defensive nature where it's like a woman's trying to get me, a woman's a predator.
Andrew Schulz know exactly what they're about. So once again, this mainstream argument that these people can't get mainstream is crazy. They already being watched. The fact that Andrew knew that Act put out a shitty clip of them and saying that I would never do that because they're good guys and stuff like that, and they actually have, you know, like he's paying attention to that community. So I don't get it. I just did one with Nikki, now I'm doing one with Andrew Schulz. Can they not really get mainstream when these type of people are watching them?
I have to constantly have my shield up. It's like, no, dude, you can't go through life being terrified of the women that you want to be with.
So
you can't be afraid of them.
So even last, you know me, I treat my and I thought about it. I treat my Twitch like my stand up.
Yeah, I love your Twitch.
Like
you do Twitch the best.
Like when I'm on Twitch, I feel like it's my stand. So anyway, there was this one guy who's like, there's something called a Manosphere.
Yeah.
Right. And the guy's like, yo, check it out. Yo, academics are setting these guys up for failure.
Right.
because he's like, first of all, they gave me the credit. Like, I guarantee Akademiks is the one who put them on.
He says it's something called the Manosphere. Like these hoes like NFTs to me. Like that's how it sounded. I'm being funny. It's like them hoes like it's the potential to pop one day in a sense. I don't know what made me get that thought, but it's like he said it's this thing called Manosphere. But it's like this idea that's out there that's floating in the air. But no, nigga, that shit is like very known and like it's a big demographic. Like, well, I don't know.
On flagrant. And here was the whole thing. And this is the conversation I've been starting to have.
Yeah.
Because I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Their ideology is really good within the niche. Within this quote unquote manosphere, which is not mainstream. I think this manosphere is now expanded after people started realizing that people are taking advantage of, like, say, the Me Too movement, and that they're just really trying to silence men or just hate men.
Right.
For some extreme portions. So now there's a need to give men a voice. People have bonded around that.
That's not the reason that men needs a voice. That's not the reason why the manospheres became a thing. Come on, bro. The cancel culture is not the reason why. That the cancel culture literally has almost probably like 10% to do with why the manosphere is a thing. Like, let's be real. Most men would probably agree the dudes that got canceled in high places should be canceled. So I don't. Like, there's a rare few cases where we're like, nah, that person got hold and shouldn't have got canceled. As men, that we really pay attention to. So that's not. The reason that men in the manosphere is a thing is because of the lack of relationship results and individual results in life. This nigga really tried to make it. Let's run it back, bro. He tried to throw that in there. Oh, cancel culture was
trying to silence men or just hate men.
Right.
For some extreme portions. So now there's a need to give men a voice. People have bonded around that, and I think that's helped what's called the manosphere. I think
people did not bond around that at all. That's not the reason why people bonded around the manosphere. So he don't really know the manosphere at all, and it's many different reasons. I've showed that throughout these few clips of or videos that I've done where he talks about it. He shows a bit of ignorance when it comes to that community.
When it comes to these guys, they got to make a decision. Do you want to be on mainstream platforms spitting this shit, or are you comfortable and cool, which by the way a lot of people are, running your niche? You could be the king of your molehill, or you're going to be fighting up the mountain with everybody who probably won't fuck with you. But the mountain's bigger. There's bigger reward and cost.
There's bigger reward and cost. There's bigger risk as well. And at the end of the day, I talk about this. When anything go corporate, when anything gets like global, it waters itself down. When movies start to try to please the American markets and international markets, the movies get watered down. When movies and artists start to focus on everyone, all demographics instead of their original demographics, sometimes they're able to pop and expand and actually do better in music. But a lot of times they end up being falling off because they got watered down and their original source what made them so great. They tried to like adjust and mold it too much to a point where it wasn't even themselves anymore. So if Joe Rogan did that, if comedians did that, if journalists, like true integral journalists did that, like tried to please everyone, tried to make everyone happy, they'll be watered down and they'll lose their flavor, and that means they lose their value over time as well. So for me, like trying to be on that bigger mountain, that's for a select niche or select industries like gas and like things that's like fundamentally used by everyone regardless of age, demographic, race, culture. Like everybody needs gas, everyone needs water. Those are the industries when you be like, how do we touch the world? But when it comes to art, when it comes to ideas, think pieces, it can never be a worldwide thought that translates with everyone. Because at some point or another, that means people will start to change and shape what they think of that instead of actually believing or staying true to the original statement. For instance, the Bible. The Bible is the Bible. It started with Roman Catholics or whatever the fuck, but now there's like over 600 different denominations. There's one source, but it's not even, and it's supposed to be this magical thing, but it's not even able to keep the same ideas around the world. People have formulated their own ideas and opinions about what that book mean or may not mean. So that's this. If that happens with a Bible or any other religion and culture where it has to have other denominations because no one worldwide can formulate a thought that fully resonates with everyone, why do you think someone like a podcast or another art form is going to be able to do that? It's not something that you see as a fundamental process when it comes to those type of creations or cultures. That's just, when it comes to something that's like intricate or whatnot, it's not going to be able to spin through many different or everyone. That's just logic. So I don't get that argument of let's go on a bigger hill. That's for certain people. And let's be real, like, will you ever be like Michael Jackson probably was the biggest to touch most demographics, people like him. But like, think about Charlemagne. He's not touching the 50-year-old white men. And you know what he would have to do to touch the golfers and the PBA national championship demographic, whatever the fuck that shit, national championship. I don't know what the fuck. The golfing championship demographic, the older white men. You know what Charlemagne will have to do to like be able to touch them? He'll have to change up his talking points, his subject matter, his content, his style. So many things he would have to change up to a point where now he can't even touch or be in touch with those people either, because it's almost impossible to be able to touch every demographic unless you're just being yourself. You're this you're just an attractive person, and eventually you get out there to all demographics. But that's an almost impossible thing to do. And who, like, is that really a goal that we should be even striving for? Like, if you're able to do it, that's a great accomplishment. But if you don't, like, all right. I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's a dumb goal. Ack is not out here trying to touch the Republican community. So why make it seem like you're trying to touch everyone, like you're trying to get up the mountain hill so strong and hard? But then vice versa, you get people that's on a mountain hill, like a person like Nicki Minaj or Andrew Schulz, I would say. I don't know if they're really on the mountain, I'm just saying. But you could say they mainstream. I would say. I don't, like, with me, I don't even know what mainstream is anymore. Because is Andrew Schulz mainstream? Like, he's one of the biggest comedians out there. But like, are we really talking about, like, he's not like CNN. He's not like LeBron James. Like, everybody don't know him. You can go internationally, niggas don't know who Andrew Schulz is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he got a big demographic. He getting bread, but there's levels to mainstream. There's levels to everything. And if you're able to touch mainstream, if you're able to tap into mainstream demographic every once in a while, I think that's good enough. But to be like thinking you're gonna be LeBron James, or to thinking like you're gonna be Oprah, is Oprah really? Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm so frustrated with this comment. That talking point is annoying. It's annoying. It don't have much logic, don't have much credence, especially when you talk about people being successful. So I'm gonna leave it there. Ack is smart. He's a wise dude. Obviously, he wouldn't have got this far, but the nigga don't know it all. Ack chat. Hey, I fuck with y'all. Thanks y'all for being so active in my comments, but the nigga don't know it all. And because some things just stem beyond that industry. Truth that stems but goes through all industries, and that's one thing I'm connected to: the truth and the connections between life. So that's why I could pick apart some of the things that Ack may believe, because there's so many different representations that prove him wrong, whether it's in his industry or not. But that's all I got, man. I'm about to hop into my podcast. Y'all shout out to, y'all check out Absolutely Unsure. Y'all keep liking, y'all keep subscribing. Stay real. Peace.